Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about a global experiment, and you're in it, whether you know it or not. All right, let's just get right into it. There's this silent epidemic, and it's affecting pretty much every single one of us. We're talking about sleep deprivation. And no, this isn't just about feeling a little groggy in the morning. This is a full-on assault on your biology, and it's happening bit by bit, night after night. So to really get a grip on what's at stake here, we need to look at the most extreme case you can possibly imagine. This is a true story, and honestly, it's a real-life horror story. It shows us exactly what happens when your ability to sleep is, well, just stolen from you.
You know, this was a chillingly accurate prediction that a man, his name was Silvano, made to his doctors way back in 1983. He started noticing the first symptoms of this terrifying genetic curse that had run through his family for generations, and he knew exactly how it was all going to end.
So what Silvano had was something called fatal familial insomnia, or FFI for short. And the culprit? It's this rogue, kind of mangled protein called a prion. With FFI, these prions just launch this devastating attack on a super important part of the brain, the thalamus. Think of it as the gatekeeper for sleep. And they just destroy it until falling asleep becomes physically impossible.
Now, FFI is incredibly rare, and thank goodness for that. But the damage it does, it peels back the curtain on a really terrifying truth about what happens to any brain, yours, mine, when it's starved of the sleep it's just crying out for.
Okay, so think about it like this. Your brain has its own nightly cleaning crew. It's called the glymphatic system, and every single night, when you're in that deep sleep, this crew gets to work. It's literally flushing out all the toxic gunk, these waste proteins that build up in your brain while you're awake. It's what keeps your brain healthy and running smoothly.
And this is where things get really scary. On one hand, you have the FFI brain, where those prions are destroying the thalamus. But on the other hand, in a normal, just sleep-deprived brain, that cleaning crew, the glymphatic system, it just stops working properly. It can't do its job. And what happens? You get a buildup of those same toxic proteins, like amyloid beta and tau. And if those names sound familiar, they should. They're the exact same proteins linked to Alzheimer's disease.
And look, this isn't just about your brain. This process of decay, it doesn't stay put. When you skip out on sleep, that damage starts to spread throughout your entire body. It's like your own biology starts turning against you.
So get this. The crucial point here is that studies have actually shown that the level of tau, one of those nasty proteins we just mentioned, the one linked to Alzheimer's, it can jump by as much as 50% after just one single night of bad sleep. That's not a slow buildup. That's an immediate chemical assault on your brain.
And it gets even weirder. Some really interesting research on fruit flies uncovered another really disturbing way this all works. It turns out it's not just brain fatigue that can be lethal. It's a full-on body assault. And it starts somewhere you'd never expect.
So here's how it plays out. It's basically a fatal chain reaction. First, you have the sleep deprivation, right? That kicks it off. Then you get this lethal buildup of these toxic molecules called reactive oxygen species, or ROS. But here's the kicker. It doesn't happen in the brain. It happens in the gut. From there, that stress spreads everywhere, causing massive cell damage and, well, in the case of the flies, death. Your own body literally betrays you from the inside out.
Okay, so as the body starts to break down, it's the mind's turn to completely unravel. And we know this for a fact because of a couple of infamous real-world experiments where people push the absolute limits of how long a human can stay awake. Take this guy, Peter Tripp. He was a DJ back in 1959, and he decided to stay awake for 201 hours for a charity stunt right in Times Square. And you can just watch his mind crumble. I mean, by day 3, his whole cheerful DJ personality was gone. He was just mean and abusive. By day 5, he was having full-blown hallucinations, seeing cobwebs in his shoes, spiders crawling on him, and by the end, day 8, he was in a state of total psychosis. Paranoid, didn't even know who he was anymore.
And Tripp's story, along with others, like Randy Gardner, a teenager who stayed awake for 11 days for a science fair project, they all show the same terrifying path. It always goes the same way. You get paranoia, your memory just goes, insane mood swings, and then finally a complete and total break from reality.
Okay, so obviously these are extreme examples, right? But what they do is they shine a spotlight on a process that is happening to all of us every single day. Just, in slow motion.
I mean, think about it. Our whole 24/7 hustle culture that tells you sleep is for the weak, that treats being exhausted like some kind of badge of honor, what is that really? It's basically one giant, uncontrolled experiment. And we're all the test subjects, whether we signed up for it or not.
And the effects? They're not some far-off thing. They are measurable and they are immediate. There was a study out of Berkeley that found a lack of sleep actually damages our ability to be social. It literally makes us less empathetic, less willing to help, and just less generous to other people.
In fact, check this out. Every year, when daylight saving time hits and most of us lose just 1 hour of sleep, charitable donations across the entire U.S. drop by an average of 10%, just from 1 hour. We literally become a less kind society overnight.
So, after all this doom and gloom, what's the point? The takeaway isn't to be scared. It's about realizing you have this incredible power to fight back against all of this, and you can use it every single night.
The neuroscientist Matthew Walker puts it perfectly. He calls sleep your superpower. And he's right. It's not just some passive downtime, and it's definitely not a luxury you can skip. It is the single most effective thing you can do to hit the reset button on your brain and your body every single day.
Yeah, this is so much more than just resting. It's an active, life-sustaining process. Sleep is your nightly chance to get that cleaning crew to wash your brain of toxins, to repair damage to your cells, and to just recalibrate your mind and your emotions for the next day.
So really, the big takeaway here is that we all need a new respect for sleep. This isn't about being lazy. It's about, well, it's about survival. And that leaves us with one final important question to think about. When you look at all the evidence, are you treating sleep like the non-negotiable biological necessity that it is?